This time, we really need to keep our eyes on the ball.
If you'd have shown me this one first, I think I'd have just walked out.
For every lucky break,
Score!
there's a miscue.
He failed you and he's very sorry. What is going on at the moment?
If we don't reframe...
Wow. Ooh.
We could both be snookered.
Is that a hole-in-one?
No, that's golf, darling.
Oh, right, OK. This week, we're north of Leeds, helping a stylish young couple find a character property that won't leave them cramped.
And guiding a couple of first-time buyers into a home with room for them to entertain.
So, the battle of space versus location starts here. And at the beginning of round one, it's all to play for.
We'll be sizing up Yorkshire properties in the sproncy spa towns of Harrogate and nearby Ilkley, and down in the hip northern neighbourhoods of Leeds.
Hip is my middle name, so I'm closest to the city, helping Mike Ritchie and Katie Roberts, first-time buyers who've recently returned to the UK after 10 months of globetrotting, 5 of which were spent living in a camper van.
Well, the first thing my dad asked us when we got back was, are you still together? Because I think if we could survive that, we can survive anything.
New jobs have brought them from York to Leeds, Katie with the probation service and Mike at a video production house. And having raised enough cash for a deposit, this once footloose and fancy-free pair are ready to put down some roots.
They've been renting in the suburb of Meanwood and are keen to stay in the area, within walking distance of shops and bars and with the bright lights of the big city not too far away.
We want to make sure we find a balance, so where we can get the best of both worlds and not completely give up on our youth just yet.
Living in the back of a van to looking to buy a house, it's like the complete opposite end of the spectrum. But yeah, I think we're ready for that. I think it's time to sort of grow up a little bit and get that sorted.
Real life now.
Real life means thinking ahead, and they want a house big enough to accommodate their 5-year plan for a family.
But just when I thought I had a pair with their priorities right, turns out they've just bought a brand new car.
We've said when we buy a house, we are definitely having a drive.
Yeah.
As a treat.
A chocolate bar is a treat. A driveway is a luxury they may not be able to afford.
So, essentially, you are already in my bad books.
Why?
A new car? A new car?
Yeah.
Before the house hunt? Which is so precious that we must have off-street parking.
It's a practical thing as well with a drive. It's not just we want to protect our precious car.
We will bear that in mind. So your budget?
Yeah. 147.
147 is your top.
Yeah.
Yes, so we don't really want to necessarily push to 147.
Yeah, ideally a bit below sort of
Development.
room to
opportunities.
spend a bit of money on the property
Yeah.
would be awesome.
When it comes to development opportunities, how up for that are you?
We don't want to spend 5 years doing the house up and then move out after 5 years. We want to spend maybe 2 years or so.
Yeah,
So
and then
nothing
enjoy
too
it.
kind of major.
You want to just make sure that the house you buy, although on paper it's for a 5-year plan, and you want something more grown up and bigger and better, which we all do, it would be also nice if that house had the ability to keep you safe and comfortable in the long run, just in case anything happened.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, we hadn't actually thought about that, had we? Does that mean we have to look at schools and stuff as well?
No,
yeah,
I
that's what I
swear,
didn't want
no, I will not discuss catchment areas with you.
Thank
I
you.
promise.
Mike and Katie have a top budget of £147,000.
They want a 2 to 3 bedroom house with off-street parking and a decent entertaining-sized kitchen, or at least the potential to create it.
And they'd like to be within a 30-minute walk of the bars and buzz of Headingley or Chapel Allerton. Both areas are former villages now absorbed by Leeds suburban sprawl and increasingly popular. The average house price is over £170,000, so they're smart to opt for walking distance to them rather than being directly in them.
While the road not yet travelled for Kirstie, Mike and Katie encompasses neighbourhoods just north of Leeds city centre, I'm 30 minutes up country, searching in some of Yorkshire's sought-after spa towns. Ever since the arrival of 1-year-old Georgia, architectural technician Lee and NHS manager Anne-Marie have been anxious to exchange their modern rented accommodation for more character and space.
The most important thing is actually a couple of family rooms.
Lee and I don't feel that we have any grown-up space of an evening without spending an hour or so tidying everything away.
Ilkley and Harrogate, near the picturesque moors, are top locations. But holding back their search is the ghost of a past property disaster. 6 years ago, they bought a Leeds inner-city apartment, but very quickly fell out of love with it.
Within the first 6 months, we knew we'd made a mistake and we put the property up for sale. And it took us over 2 years to sell it and at a huge loss. It has scarred us, both mentally and financially. And it's taken us this long to have the courage to put money back into a property.
They've set very high standards this time round, but there's been a lot of sofa searching, and they've only been inside a mere 12 properties in the last 10 months.
We have quite particular requirements, and so we do rule out quite a lot, which we think on paper don't work for us.
You should never dismiss a property on the basis of an online glance. Pictures don't tell the full story. The best way to get a feel for a house is to get inside it.
A firm hand is needed here, but also a fair one. First property catastrophe was very bruising.
It must have been a fairly torrid time.
I think the apartment affected me more than it did Lee. I feel like I lack the confidence now to make the right decision because we thought we'd made the right decision then.
To look back and think we got that wrong would be very tough when it comes to making another decision. What are we looking for? What is the ultimate property?
We've always lived in very modern accommodation, but now we're looking for a family home. I think what we would really like is something with that bit of charm and character, but that is fairly modern internally.
Would you renovate a property?
I would be happy to take on a bit of a project. I think you have said you'd like a bit of a turnkey.
I mean, what's more important to you, the property itself or the location it's in?
For me, I think it's location.
For me, it would be the property over location.
I'm getting confused. So how long have we got to pull this off?
2 months.
2 months?
Yep.
When's the next train, Sal?
There's no going back, Phil. In 2 months' time, the lease expires on their rented flat. They need you, and they need you now.
I'm really going to have to access my inner superhero on this one.
Just remember, underpants on the outside is very last century.
With a maximum budget of £235,000, my couple are looking for a Georgian or Victorian property.
They want 3 bedrooms and 2 family rooms, ideally in the Ilkley area, because they're after good transport links to their jobs in Leeds. Both couples are looking for similar-sized properties, and although their search areas are only 15 miles apart, the difference in average price is over 100 grand.
Oh, Kirstie, a comfy seat. It might be the last one we get for a few days.
Oh, don't be such a pessimist.
I've got a lot of work to do my end. I don't know about you.
Why?
Well, you know, usual old story in a way. Been searching for 10 months.
Yeah.
And they want different things. She doesn't want to do any work, he does. He wants a really nice house. She's more worried about the location. Happy days.
Oh, I'm okay in comparison. Yeah. Actually, I've just got a car and they want it parked off street so it doesn't get keyed or
And that narrows down the housing choices.
Narrows? That just like completely takes it from 60 to 0.
Then they're going to base the house choice over...
I know, not when I finish with them, believe me, no.
So it looks like someone's off to get the backseat driver. And I need to gear up for what could be a royally rough ride amid the majestic scenery and impressive heritage of my patch of Yorkshire. 30 minutes up the line from Leeds, with the Yorkshire Dales on the doorstep and plenty of old world charm, the spa towns of Ilkley and Harrogate are sought-after spots indeed.
In a recent property website survey, Harrogate was voted the 4th happiest place to live in the UK.
We just fell in love with the place because it's full of flowers, it's beautifully kept. We just thought, wow, this feels a nice place to live. We still feel like we're on holiday.
Very good shopping, restaurants, bars, and yet you can be out into the countryside within minutes.
And even if you're not going anywhere in particular, like tonight after school, just walking around Harrogate's really nice.
And there's lots of space to ride our bikes and all that type of stuff.
Desirability drives prices up, and the average cost of a 3-bed property in their favoured towns is £245,000. 25% more than the rest of the region, and £10,000 more than Lee and Anne-Marie have to spend.
Here in their #1 spot of Ilkley, they have good access to shops, schools and the moors, and the street's only 10 minutes from the train to Leeds.
This is a little smaller than I think you'll like, but it's got lots of other things going for it.
All right.
Most of all is where it is in Ilkley.
Yeah.
I like the privacy, and there is some character, and it's on a very nice, quiet street.
So far, so good.
Come on then.
This 1900s stone-built terrace fits the bill with 3 bedrooms and has a separate sitting room and dining kitchen. There's no chain, so it could work well for their 2-month deadline.
And the charm and period detail should be right up their alley. There's a gap in the property stock that meets their strict criteria, and the price on this place is 45 grand less than their top spend.
How does it strike you so far?
I like the style. Feels very homely.
Yeah.
Feels like a family home, definitely.
It would be a compromise not to have that extra family space. I think we knew Ilkley would be a push to get what we wanted.
Yeah, we have found that, haven't we?
Yeah.
Spacious character properties in this area and in their budget are few and far between. It is the turnkey home Anne-Marie would prefer, and this next room's proportions should impress.
Pretty glamorous bathroom, I thought.
It's really nice.
It is really nice, isn't it?
I'd sleep in here.
Yeah, well, it would have been a bedroom when the house was built, because the bathroom or the loo would have been outside. So a lot of these Victorian houses around these streets have got really very nice bathrooms.
It is lovely.
The bathroom's a hit, but my instincts tell me this might get a low reading overall on the yes-o-meter.
Very light and airy and quiet.
Yeah. I like it, it's a good size.
I think I'm just getting a dose of kind of first viewing politeness, I'll put it down to. I don't believe they like it, but they're not telling me that yet. There are choices, there are compromises, but they're going to be making them, whether they make them now or whether they make them in 3 months' time, they've still got to make them.
It's too small for me.
Is it?
Yeah.
Think about it without the clutter.
Will the love of location win out over the need for space here?
Soon find out. Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
How'd you get on?
The 3rd bedroom is a little bit of a concern for me. I just think it's really small, even as a guest room, but that could be the compromise.
And it seems to be a very sensible choice.
Somehow I don't think Sensible's going to swing it here.
Let's head on.
Thank you.
Come on, Phil, you really need to fire up this search.
I'm struggling to find a home that offers enough space and period style for a practically perfect couple.
And I'm dealing with an elephant in the driveway. This could be a complete catastrophe.
North of Leeds is our house hunting patch this week. My first property in Ilkley with Lee and Anne-Marie was the right location, but the house itself was a bit of a disappointment.
It's too small for me.
Is it?
My next number needs to spark a lot more enthusiasm.
And I'm searching with Katie and Mike closer to Leeds City. They've got the travel bug out of their system and now want a 2 to 3 bed home with a driveway so they and their new car can park for at least 5 years. They'd like to be within 30 minutes of either Chapel Allerton or Headingley. Location's popular for a buzzing vibe close to the city centre.
What's good about North Leeds for me is a kind of mixture of both modernity and old-fashionedness, I guess.
There's a good mix of students, young professionals, and people that have been around here for generations.
It feels a really nice, safe place to live.
Today, I'm taking them just beyond the borders of their preferred patch to Kirkstall, where their budget of £147,000 goes further.
The average price for a terraced house here is just under £120,000.
It's stretching their boundaries, but this sociable pair want a house with a kitchen big enough to cook and entertain in. Our first property is the best example of that we could find. The compromise, yep, you guessed it, not a driveway in sight. I'm totally listening to what you're saying about off-street parking. Despite my things about the car, I'm not ignoring it. But this is, you can park outside your front door and you can do it safely.
I think it's hard to tell in the middle of the day. It's the sort of thing where I'd come back in the evening and just see
exactly.
how it is.
No. Yeah.
Nice manoeuvre. At least they didn't do a complete U-turn.
I'm hoping this 4-level terraced house will impress them with its walk-in wow factor and spaciousness. We've heard it was once owned by architects, which could explain the clever conversion of the cellar into a kitchen diner.
Terraces this side often have 3 bedrooms, but here there are 2 large ones. The whole house has been done to a very high spec, and it's under budget at just under £145,000.
Is this house an interesting beginning or a possible contender?
I think it's tricky because we haven't seen any terrace houses. We hadn't really thought about them because of the off-street parking situation.
Right. It's annoying because we've not researched terraces, have we?
As first-time buyers, these two really have been approaching things the wrong way, and that means they've disregarded around half of the property stock in their area.
What I cannot believe is that they never considered a terraced house because of the off-street parking. Ta-da! The only reason to veto a property is because of location.
Terraced properties have enormous benefits. An English Heritage report found that over a period of 30 years, the repairs on a Victorian terraced house could cost 60% less than building and maintaining a new one.
You're also well insulated thanks to houses either side, and the square footage is often generous.
This property has 930 square feet, heaps of room to cook for friends.
Gas hobs.
Gas hobs.
Store.
They're definitely cooking on gas in the kitchen, but what did they think overall?
For me, showing us this has made me rethink the parking, which we've not done yet.
Fantastic inside. I kind of think if there was a house that wasn't quite as nice that we could do up, that might be a better thing.
Okay, then.
Well done, Kirstie. The driveway seems to have lost top spot on the wish list.
Quite right too.
Up yonder in Yorkshire with Lee and Anne-Marie, our first property was all about location, but lack of space took it out of the running. Our next property is in Harrogate, and I'm hoping it gets me back on track.
Very excited.
Yeah, this one's exciting.
We are smiling, aren't we? How about this? Come on then. Hope the inside's as good.
The curb appeal is clear. There's a nursery nearby for 1-year-old Georgia, and the train to Leeds is a 15-minute walk away. There's nothing cramped about this property, with outside spaces front and back and even a garage. And with the 2 family rooms thereafter, I'm confident it'll measure up.
Originally on at £225,000, it's now been reduced and is 20 grand under budget.
Yeah, it's on the market for 215,000. It's approximately 200 square feet bigger than we were in Ilkley, so you're getting better family space.
Yeah. However, the extra family space has been created at the expense of the kitchen.
Just doesn't quite feel like a family kitchen as such. It feels like something that we had when we lived in our flat.
Okay. Is it doing it for you?
In here, I think I share the same sense as what you do. Wow. Ooh.
There are compromises here, and the problem is they seem to be comparing it with another near-perfect property seen some months ago.
At the time, they couldn't quite afford it, and now it's another shadow hanging over this search.
Is the existence of that property and the memory of that holding you back from making decisions on other ones?
Quite possibly, yes, because it did set the benchmark, and I think we have to forget about that one and move on.
Okay. Whether you're actually able to do that, whether Anne-Marie's able to do that, is perhaps a different matter.
You've really got your work cut out for you here.
I just get a sense that they're still dwelling on the past and they're struggling to accept what the market can offer them at their budget right now, and they're struggling to reach any decision with any confidence.
That's a really
And this is a good size room.
Yeah.
I see smiles, Phil. Quick, bounce on the positive.
If the kitchen looked different than it did today, what would we be talking about now? How would you be feeling?
What offer should we put in?
Really? As
Yeah.
strong as that? But the kitchen could look different. You can sort that out.
I think there's lots of potential.
Finally, we're making a bit of progress, but Anne-Marie's aversion to taking on work could really stymie this time-sensitive search.
15 miles south in Leeds, my first-time buyers are happy to take on a doer-upper, and I think this rather individual-looking house could be the one for them.
We've come to Meanwood, much closer to their favourite watering holes.
Mike and Katie rent in Meanwood, but this is a part they're unfamiliar with.
Yeah, we drove past a sign that did say about criminal activity nearby, so that sort of worries us to start with, but, you know, keep an open mind.
Never fear, Phil is here.
You want to know whether this is a good street or a bad street? Just look up there. Tell me one thing. Do crims trim hedges?
No.
No.
Maybe that's what they want you to think.
Well-kept gardens are an encouraging sign, and if they're on board with the Kirstie maxim, crims don't trim. This house offers Katie and Mike all they asked for and more. We're talking garage, even a games room, and a garden of rather grand designs.
This could be a no-brainer, and there's my kind of room for improvement. Now, this is the wall that I would knock down.
OK.
Yeah. So that this is your kitchen diner.
True to form, Kirstie, but yes, that would create the entertaining-sized kitchen space thereafter.
Apart from the kitchen, this 3-bed semi only needs cosmetic updating and a touch of TLC. There's money in the pot for that. The asking price is £125,000.
I'm excited about designing this kitchen now.
Yeah, I like the idea that you can do work to it and make it ours.
I also think you'd be enhancing the value.
Yes,
because
that's a big,
families want big family kitchens. When this house was built, this is how they like to live.
Yeah.
We've changed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The wife doesn't stay at home, cook, and put the dinner on the table at 5:30 anymore.
Sadly
Yeah,
not.
tell me about it.
I think you two better beat a retreat before you dig yourselves any deeper.
Merely jesting, Kirstie, but I do want a chance to check in with Mike. It's quite a transition from being carefree in a camper van to finding a future home.
And how are you dealing with the whole sort of concept of choosing a house?
Thinking about this as our sort of 5-year house, you've got to think about things that are going to happen in sort of 3, 4, 5 years, which is kind of scary. So sort of thinking about maybe having kids and how they would work in the house as well. It's important to do it, but it's sort of the next 5 years all in sort of a couple of weeks, which is pretty crazy.
You're absolutely right to do that, to think long-term. This is a long-term decision.
Absolutely.
You've no idea how the next 5 years are going to pan out for you guys.
No.
In the current economic climate, especially if you're buying for the first time, it's sensible to aim for a future-proof home. Sometimes we forget how difficult it is for these young first-time buyers to navigate this. Actually, everybody needs a helping hand. I wish I could split myself in a million.
Oh, don't say that.
Oh!
Several million of you isn't enough to scare anybody.
Is that a hole-in-one?
Oh, that's golf, darling.
Oh, right, OK.
Never mind, you may not know the lingo, but to be fair, Mike and Katie did need your help to queue up this particular pocket in Meanwood.
I think we might have discounted this area completely in our search.
Yeah.
And now I'm here. I don't know why. Because it's nice.
In terms of space and what's there of the house, it's spot on.
Spot on, yeah.
Terrific. Excellent. I'm delighted.
What's got into you all of a
I'm
sudden?
feeling very chipper at the moment.
You're looking very chipper.
Don't encourage him. Oh, Gordon Bennett, all we need is a chipper Pip.
I'm just happy the wagon wheels are turning in the right direction here. I need a bit of that further north.
I have great expectations, Pip.
Over in North Yorkshire, Lee and Anne-Marie are still not entirely in agreement on their priorities. Space or location, turnkey or doer-upper. The 3-bed in South Harrogate met with some approval, but they felt the kitchen needed work, something Anne-Marie's not keen on. Today we're in Knaresborough, a traditional market town 5 miles northeast of Harrogate.
There's more potential to bag a bargain here, so their budget could go a little bit further than in South Harrogate.
I need to know who's more willing to compromise on what, so I have a trick or two up my sleeve.
What do you guys think? Has it got the right kind of curb appeal?
It looks really nice from the outside, but I'm not entirely sure about the street it's on.
Opposite the house is an empty development plot, the fate of which is uncertain. But this is a period property with an interior that will bowl Anne-Marie over.
It's a seductive mix of old and new. You get all the benefits and even some of the luxuries of modern living combined with beautifully preserved character features.
The major attraction here is the 2 longed-for living areas. It's all very spacious and stylish for our perfectionist pair.
You couldn't get more turnkey and it could be theirs for £225,000, 10 grand under their top budget.
Now, this would be dining room, playroom, family room.
Oh.
Woo! It's pretty special, isn't it?
I'm quite speechless.
Think Georgia would like this one?
This is my room. Yeah, I think
I'm
he's
at the
lost
front.
out now.
Anne-Marie's obviously smitten, and there's plenty of room for the whole family, with the galley kitchen opening out onto an entertainment and play area.
The current owner is a decorator joiner and every room has been done to an exceptionally high spec.
Wow.
It is lovely.
It is truly spectacular, isn't it?
The place is a hit, but because Lee's always been more keen on a project, this is where my third gambit gets two-pronged.
Sounds painful, Phil.
It's all in hand, Kirstie. Up for sale, just 2 doors down, is a 4-bed semi-detached with exactly the same footprint, but without its potential fully realised.
Having seen what can be done, there's no imagination required, and this property is significantly cheaper.
2 doors up is on the market at 225,000. This is on at 180,000.
Wow.
So,
wow.
Massive difference.
Massive.
That is.
If they were both game for it, this could be the perfect place to satisfy Lee's fixer-upper fantasies.
But you'd have to live through it.
Yeah, I don't think I could. If you'd have shown me this one first, I think I'd have just walked out.
Sounds like a no from Anne-Marie, but maybe Lee can still get her fired up?
We could get it to your taste. We could take this on as a project, but it would cost a bit of money and it would take a while.
Yeah, sorry, I'm not interested.
I got that impression, that's fine.
That's a no then.
What's going through your minds?
Out of the two, it has to be the one that's good to walk into and start living.
OK. How do you feel about the area?
The plot of land opposite is causing me few concerns. It's something that I didn't want, but it may have to be the compromise.
Well, we've got another one to see.
Yeah.
You only need to choose one. That's all I ask. This week we're hunting out homes for 2 couples, both of whom have a preference for prime locations north of Leeds.
But if they want premium postcodes, they'll need a big injection of cash or a healthy dose of compromise. For my first-time buyers, postcode doubts seem to be balanced by the great potential of property 2. But could this proactive pair be pushed even further in the project department?
Lee and Anne-Marie fell for the interior of property 3, the curb appeal of property 2, and the location of property 1.
But their rental lease expires in just 2 months, so they really need to come together on the compromise.
For my final property, I'm taking them to Burley in Wharfdale, a 6-minute drive from their preferred town of Ilkley. And I might need a bit of backup on this one.
You know you can always count on me.
Well, a bit of a curved ball here.
Yes. That's a cricketing terminology.
Yeah.
Bit of an in-swinger.
Well, I'm definitely putting a spin on things, taking them to a house that's barely 10 years old.
I wanted a period property. I never said which period. Maybe I should have stated a bit clearer.
From the word go, I'm sensing a big fat no, Phil.
Give it a chance. This is all the space they need in a good location. And with their deadline, if Anne-Marie's adamant she wants perfection over potential, they do need to be open-minded. The house is priced at just under 240,000, but for a quick sale, it's likely we could get it on budget for 235.
I love this room. Yeah, I'm surprised.
Would you trade the character?
That's the question I don't think I can answer.
This is actually a sympathetic development designed to fit in with the surrounding architecture, and it is well laid out over 3 levels. However, there's no denying it looks new.
It's just not really what we're looking for as a style.
No.
As a family home, it would work, though. There is only really one compromise with this house, and that's the character. Could you see that being sacrificed?
No, I don't think.
It hasn't
I think
won you
it's
over.
too much of a compromise.
But there's going to have to be a compromise somewhere along the line.
That's fine.
But luckily, that's Phil's job.
Compromising? They keep talking about it, but are they actually ready to do it?
I can see the benefits of as to what this would give us, but I think there is one property that stands above the rest.
OK, and it's not this one. Anne-Marie?
Same as me. I think we're on the same page.
OK. That'd be a first.
No arguments just yet.
If this property has helped completely clarify character as a main priority for both of them, our time here hasn't been wasted.
This was the right thing to do. I'm with you all the way, backing you up.
I've wasted your time.
I don't think you wasted my time at all.
Well, I probably could have.
And I'm sure they don't either.
Why don't I believe her?
Phil and I keep busy while Lee and Anne-Marie check out the house. Right.
Hello.
He failed you and he's very sorry.
No offence.
No offence.
One learns by one's mistakes. You cannot learn without mistakes.
Don't look at me like that. Get out of here. Go on.
Okay, come on, moving on. Ladies and gentlemen, let's try.
Day in, day out. Week in, week out. Month in, month out. Decade in, decade out.
Phil's final viewing might have fallen flat, but I'm very excited by the last property I have to show Mike and Katie. They love Chapel Allerton, and although the kind of property they're after is generally more expensive in this neck of the woods, I've managed to find a ray of hope in this 1930s Edwardian-influenced home.
On this lovely day, we have a little sparkling gem. And the look of the house, what you can see over the hedge?
Nice, yeah.
Cute, yeah. I really like the street.
Yeah, it's a lovely street. Yeah.
Got a driveway as well, so...
In my opinion, that's completely irrelevant.
Yes, there is off-street parking for the precious car, but we find homes for people, not cars, and if they're as keen on a project as they say they are, they could score themselves a diamond in the rough here.
The downside is there's no longer a kitchen in place due to a burst boiler, but they could start from scratch and create the dining-sized kitchen thereafter.
A deceased estate, the house is on the market for £140,000, £7,000 under budget.
Do you think you're equal to the task?
I think we're going to need a lot of help.
Yeah.
But we've got people who are willing to do that.
What a fun thing to do, what a good thing to achieve after like 2 or 3 years and go, look what we've done. That really excites me, yeah.
I have to say, I am thrilled that you're thrilled. Go and have a look upstairs, see what you think of the bedrooms. Cool. I'm going to sit in the sun.
Yeah.
See you in a bit.
See you in a bit.
Sit in the sun? You are feeling confident. If they go for it, the challenge will be to knock down the price so they can afford to do the work.
On our side is the fact that it's a private sale we found through an online bulletin board, so the vendor's already saving on marketing fees.
Average fees in the UK are around 1.8% of the house price. So by not using an estate agent, they've potentially saved themselves over £2,500.
Deals can be had with private sales, so don't just rely on property websites, check out community bulletin boards too.
How do you feel about the level of work we need to do?
It's just cosmetic, isn't it?
When you're thinking of taking on work, it is so important that you're both up for it. I'm shouting. This is a good, strong house, and it would be a good buy. But they need to be in it together.
It's so big, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's so grown up.
The last owner of this house lived here for over 50 years, and apart from the kitchen, it is in reasonable shape.
But they'll still need to spend every penny to bring it into the 21st century.
Contemplating the enormity of it.
It doesn't put me off.
I know.
One bit.
It's not you I'm worried about. I think you're being really, really up for it. I get a slight sense that Katie's a bit nervous.
I think she's up for it as well. Like, from the beginning, we've said we want a project. No, I'm really excited. Really excited.
I'm excited.
Good job, Kirstie.
If you buy this house, I'm doing the revisit.
Even if you're gung-ho about creating your ideal family home, do your homework so you don't overcapitalise. Check out what the done-up houses in the area have achieved price-wise and scale your plans accordingly.
It's a big step forward for my pair, but I think they can see there's a massive window of opportunity with this house.
Would it be jumping to conclusions to say that you might want to come back and see this property?
I think definitely we'd like to look at it in more detail, yeah. Brilliant.
Happy days.
Good job.
We found a house.
No doubts about which one's the front runner for Katie and Mike. But Lee and Anne-Marie left me in limbo overnight. I need to get to the bottom of where their heads are at.
Have you reached any conclusions, decisions?
We know which area we want to live in.
We've agreed on Harrogate.
Yeah.
We like the second property very much, and we would just like to have a look to see what else was on offer to make sure that is exactly the right one for us in the area.
Given their history, we saw this coming.
Our cautious perfectionists couldn't resist trawling the net overnight and think they found something we've missed.
As if. We never skimp on research and know exactly what's going on with all the houses in the area.
It came on the market at the weekend.
Right.
At 250. They had a full asking price offer by Sunday night. They had another offer on it on Tuesday. That was over the asking price. That will fetch north of 260. It's just way out of reach, isn't
Yeah.
It is,
Totally.
So what were you doing looking at it?
We thought no one else would like it and they might take a cheeky bid.
Harrogate is such a prime location. People will always want to live here. There will always be demand.
I think I definitely needed to hear that. And it's just making me focus more on property too and what we could potentially do with it.
Back on track then. There is a real danger in looking beyond your budget online. You're only setting yourself up for disappointment with what's available within your price bracket.
No such muddying of the waters with Katie and Mike, who've been exploring Property 3's neighbourhood, and I've called in some building expertise.
Paul Spencer, no relation, is here to assess the cost of making the place habitable by reinstating a kitchen and creating a good entertaining space by knocking through to the dining room.
I know they love the idea of this house, but the reality of it has to be faced.
My budget for doing the whole of that work was probably a little bit higher than you think, but maybe 7 for a new kitchen of reasonable quality.
£7,000 would be doable within their budget, but to err on the side of caution and to cover a new boiler and possible rewiring, best to allow £10,000.
It's just a case of us talking about what we can live with for a bit and what we need to do now.
Paul estimates the basic building work could be done within 2 weeks, which is good news as the mortgage company would want to know it was being made habitable as soon as possible, or they might consider it a high-risk loan and only release money in stages. And when it does come to knocking down walls and updating, bear in mind the value of retaining any original features.
If someone takes that out sympathetically, you can put it somewhere else, because it's absolutely charming. And I'm telling you this now, 16 years of house hunting experience, this is the kind of thing that sells a house.
Yeah. Kirstie's sold on the place, but for Katie and Mike to commit to buying, the price has to be right.
Let's go and talk tactics.
After our little hiccup, Lee and Anne-Marie decided Property 2 in South Harrogate was definitely worth a second look.
It feels good to be back. You get a nice feeling about it.
It's nice to see it in the sun.
Yeah.
They love the area and space this house has to offer, but the main sticking point was the kitchen. It's small and on a different level.
Yeah, it still is definitely an issue.
But I have a solution.
To lower the floor and to open up the archway and to redo the plumbing and the electrics is a total cost of £4,000 plus VAT.
Okay.
Okay.
If they wanted to go one step further, they could extend out the back, as has one of the neighbours.
As this isn't a conservation area, under permitted development rights on a terraced or semi-detached property, Lee and Anne-Marie could extend from the original house by 3 metres, using matching materials, unless it was a conservatory.
We've spoken to a builder who's actually working on this street and he knows that extension.
All right.
He reckons £16,000.
That excites me though.
Yeah.
Not the money, but...
The fact that Anne-Marie's excited's got me pretty chirpy, considering a project is a turnaround from the turnkey she was always after.
Why the change of heart?
Definitely get the right feel about the area, and to get what we want on this street, we're going to have to
Deal with
some...
the project.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm happy to make that compromise. And I think Lee's very excited about having his own little project.
Yeah, it's win-win.
A bonus.
Although there is, of course, a project to manage and to live through.
Yeah. That's the short term. Long term is family home right for us.
Fantastic, Anne-Marie. This is music to my ears.
And mine.
Anne-Marie has seen the light, but have they both finally got the confidence to commit to buying again?
10 months of searching. Could this be it? I don't know.
We're north of Leeds with some first-time buyers who've been won over by a 1930s semi-detached house in Chapel Allerton.
And after 10 months of searching and often different priorities, we finally found, once bitten, twice shy, Lee and Anne-Marie, a terraced house in Harrogate with the potential to become a good family home.
The question from here is, what do you want to do about it?
We would like to make an offer.
Confident?
Yes.
Good. Oh, that's the first thing.
Well done, Phil. Now the hard part.
They have a maximum budget of $235, and the current asking price on the house is $215.
Do you have any figures in mind?
I think we're really keen to try and buy it, but we want to be pretty sensitive with the price. We don't want to push it too far, knowing that we have to withhold some budget for the extension.
Well, if you're happy, I'd suggest that we start negotiating at 205 and just gauge reaction. Alex, hi, it's Phil Spencer here. We don't particularly have a massive problem with the price as such if it was in slightly better condition and the kitchen didn't have some of the issues that it does. They would like to offer you $205,000 for that house. OK, terrific. Well, thank you. Bye-bye. Yes, you wouldn't be drawn on whether she thought it was a good offer or bad.
Right, OK.
In Leeds, I have to do the same negotiating for Katie and Mike. They have $147,000 to spend and the asking price on their semi-detached house is $140,000. But we also need to factor in the cost of a new kitchen.
I think we can get it for $130,000. What are your feelings about that?
It's the only house we've ever liked that we could actually afford. So it's a no-brainer, isn't it?
Yeah, do it, absolutely.
It's a private sale and a deceased estate, and I'm dealing with the wife of one of the inheritors.
Tammy, hi, it's Kirstie. Katie might want the house. They really love the house. They're completely OK with the house as it is. They don't want you to do anything more to it. If you were able to accept an offer of $130,000, they would take the house completely as it is, 100%.
Kirstie's working her magic, but I've not pulled a deal out of the hat in Harrogate. Our initial offer of $205,000's been rejected.
Well, how about this? Because we've been sat here talking about how you might react and what we might do about it. I've got instructions to offer $208,000 now. However, if your clients would move out within 2 months and complete the deal and to take the property off the market with no further viewings today, then I would talk to them about paying the $210,000. Thanks, Alex. Bye.
We could get lucky with $208,000, but my feeling is Lee and Anne-Marie will have to go slightly higher to seal the deal. Time alone will tell.
I don't know whether to laugh or cry.
You and me both. In Leeds, I've just been dealt a body blow.
Yes. Right. Yes, Tammy, that would be great. I'll do that. Thanks so much. OK. Thank you. OK. Bye. What is going on at the moment? This is fine. This is OK. We're not going to lose the house.
I'm terrified right now.
But the neighbour opposite, as Tammy came out the house this afternoon, having locked up after we went round, made an offer on it.
Oh, man.
How much?
A bit more than we've just offered.
But Tammy met Mike and Katie earlier and liked them both. She felt they'd be sympathetic to the period features, but she needs to discuss it overnight with her husband.
We'll just have to do this and touch this.
It's going to be a long night.
It's a game of patience now for Katie and Mike. Can Phil at least come up trumps for Lee and Anne-Marie?
That was quick work. $208's not enough.
OK.
But she does believe there's a deal to be done at $210 if you were prepared to pay for it, for them to move out and take the property off the market.
For $210? Yeah. Yeah.
Alex, we have a deal. Terrific. Delighted at this end. Thank you. Cheers. Bye-bye. We have a deal.
Thank you very much.
Goodness me. Well done. A long, long search with a very happy ending.
Yeah.
And a terrific house.
A very happy ending.
I love it.
2 weeks later, Lee and Anne-Marie's building plans for their new home had an unexpected setback.
We got the offer accepted and we were dead excited. Shortly after, we found out in the deeds there was a restrictive covenant.
Frustratingly, the covenant means Anne-Marie and Lee can't alter the house to make it work for them, putting the purchase in jeopardy.
But we tracked down the covenant owners, and if Lee and Anne-Marie can get planning approval from the neighbours, hopefully their perseverance will net them the home they clearly love.
I can picture us in this home, and if we get this issue resolved, it'll just feel amazing to be there.
That's going to be one hell of a moving in party.
And don't forget my invite. I wouldn't miss it for the world. But it all proved a bit more straightforward for Mike and Katie. After an agonising weekend wait, their offer of $130,000 was finally accepted.
It was amazing, and it was a big journey we were about to embark on.
The house is full of like old furniture, old beds, old microwaves, so a lot of that needs to go.
They're the perfect pair to get stuck in and transform this house into a home.
I think by the time we can actually sit back and go, wow, it's finished, we'll have like a screaming baby and all loads of other stuff going on. I don't think we're ever going to relax again, are we? This is just our life now. But that's a really good thing. Sorry.
Brilliant.
Don't look so worried, Mike. I'm sure there'll be just as many happy times as nappy times.